Hello everyone, how's it going? And welcome to the moment you've all been waiting for. These are the patch notes for Wild Rift 5.0. A new year means a new patch cycle, so now we're on patch 5 for Wild Rift, which is kind of crazy. We've come a long way already for Wild Rift. The big thing about these patch notes is that there are a lot of system changes. There's not that many new champions or champion changes or even new items. There's a few new items, but nothing too crazy. The big thing is system changes. There's a lot of basics that you might know about Wild Rift that are completely changing. So if you want to know everything about this patch, all the system changes, I'm going to break it all down in this video for you so you can get that little edge and little advantage going into season 12 and a new rank season coming out very, very soon. Before we get through the patch notes though, I just want to let you all know that I will be doing a giveaway on this video as well. All you have to do is like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below. It can be any comment at all, and I will release the winners next week. Thanks to Riot again for giving out these codes. They're for random skin chests, so you have a chance to get a cool random skin. But yeah, like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below, and I'll pick the winners next week. Like I said, a lot to go through in this video. There are some champion changes, there are some new items, but the big thing is system changes. That's a huge thing coming into this patch, which is a bit further down along in the video. But as I mentioned, I'll explain everything for you and what it means for Wild Rift. First thing is new champions. We do have Syndra coming out, who's coming out on day 1 of the patch. I will be doing a guide on her at midnight tonight GMT, so in about 6 hours time from this video, about 6-7 hours time from this video, I will be doing a full Syndra guide. She was actually my main in League of Legends when playing in the mid lane, so I know a lot about Syndra. They have changed a lot about her as well coming into Wild Rift from PC League of Legends, and I think they've actually made her stronger than what she is in PC League of Legends. She's a mid lane mage. She's a bit like a control mage, a bit like Orianna. So if you like champions like Orianna, Ahri, she's a control mage, but she does do a lot of burst damage as well at the same time. So a very exciting champion coming to Wild Rift, and I think will definitely shift up that mid lane meta. New features, we have the companions. You might have remembered a while ago they had the chonks, the big massive chonks that follow you around. This is basically Wild Rift's version of that now. They did the chonks as kind of a test, I guess, in a way. Now they're bringing a new thing called companions. Some of you might have seen this already, but it's like a beta test, which your companion will be able to follow you, cheer you around. You'll be able to level them up as well. Now the companions will not appear in legendary ranked or arena mode. So these two modes, it won't appear, but it will appear in normal ranked, normal queues, ARAM, everything like that. I'm curious to see how much they're actually going to be charging for these companions. I've seen a couple of them. They look pretty cute, to be fair. I'm not too sure how much they're going to charge for them. It's probably going to be a stupid amount because of how much gacha is basically in Wild Rift right now. I'm not too sure. I don't really care too much about the companions, but hey, if one of them is really, really cute and they follow me around and they make me look cool, I wouldn't mind that at all. Rank season 12 is kicking off. Big thing is this is kicking off on 19th of January, not the day of the patch. So we're going to have one full day tomorrow where we're going to be playing on the old season, but all the changes are going to be coming in. This is so big. I want you all to make sure that you play at least a few games tomorrow, January 18th, to make sure that you get a bit of an idea about all these system changes, about all the changes that are coming in, champion changes, new items. Take a look at guides. Make sure you keep an eye on my website as well, because I will be updating that before we go into January 19th, which is when the new season will start. So you'll get that little bit of an edge and a little bit of a head start going into the new season. But we have the Glorious Twisted Fate skin, and I also said that they're doing some new things about legendary queue with rewards for legendary queue, but they don't actually have any of that announced in this video. So we'll have to, you know, wait and see what they do in terms of the legendary queue rewards, because I think there's a big massive question mark about legendary queue because it's just not as popular. You know, in Europe there is no one that is in the highest tier for legendary queue. There's a few people that are immortal, but that's about it. Wild Pass as well, we got the Food Spirits Veigar skin, you've probably all seen that already, and then we got the Black Forest Renekton skin, which is the mini pass, which will be after the Food Spirits Veigar. Events, we got the Wild Puzzle coming back with the release of Syndra. And then we move on to the champion changes. One of the biggest reworks I think that Wild Rift will probably ever get, unless there's a champion rework in League of Legends that come to PC League again, is going to be Aurelion Sol. Now, Aurelion Sol is completely different than what he was before. He's a lot more to do with scaling now. He has a lot more crowd control, and he has a lot more burst damage. There are some of his abilities that have kind of stayed the same, especially his flying, you know, his second ability. His third ability is now not his flying, it's now his second ability, where Aurelion Sol flies in a direction while firing. You can breathe the fire and also deal, you know, a little bit of damage. Breath of Light is his new kind of laning tool, where you'll be able to do a lot of single target damage. You'll also be able to do clear the waves without kind of walking up and making sure that you basically die, because the bad thing about the old Aurelion Sol is that when you were laning, you kind of had to walk up and auto attack minions and kind of use your stars that are rotating around you, so you were very stuck on kind of one play style with Aurelion Sol. But this new Aurelion Sol, you can upgrade his abilities, you can get Stardust and upgrade Stardust, and then when you get your ultimate, that's really where it comes online. You know, Aurelion Sol's ultimate, some of you might have seen it from PC League of Legends, but it's this big massive, I guess you can call it, star that like drops from the heavens, and it does like huge massive AoE damage. And when it's upgraded to Disguise Ascend, you'll be able to knock up enemy champions, do huge massive AoE damage, and this is dependent on how much Stardust that you collect. Now, collecting Stardust you can do by killing minions, by getting stacks from other things as well, so you'll be able to obviously do that with the extra Stardust stacks as well. But really huge you know, update to Aurelion Sol. I'll probably do a more in-depth guide with him, because there is a lot to go through with Aurelion Sol. As you can see, every single ability has changed, every single ability has been updated. He's basically a new champion now. If you played PC League of Legends before, that would be very similar to you. But if you've not played PC League of Legends before, watch this space, because I'll make sure that I'll do a full guide on Aurelion Sol and I'll explain everything in more detail. But since there's so much to go through, it's very difficult to go through everything in detail in this patch notes, because I don't want to spend too much time there. Gragas, big change for Gragas. This is a huge buff to Gragas as well. You can now use his first ability whilst using his third ability. This is a big thing in PC League of Legends that they've had for a long time, but Wild Rift just never had it for some reason. This is big for Gragas because he can use his combo a lot more efficiently now. You don't have to use your third ability and kind of wait with your first ability to use it after your third ability. You can now use it whilst you're casting or whilst you're dashing with Body Slam, which is really big. It's going to help with his jungle clear. It's just going to help with engages in general. I'm going to make the champion seem a lot more smoother than what he is at the moment, because at the moment the champion is very, I guess, rigid in a way, and you kind of have to make sure that you use your combo correctly. But it's a nice way of making Gragas seem a bit more fluent. Lee Sin, bit of an interesting one. They removed the old ultimate, but now they have a new ultimate. This is basically exactly the same thing. The only thing that has really changed is that there is a new scaling to Lee Sin's ultimate. As you can see, as you're reading this, as I'm talking to you, pretty much everything is the same. The big thing is that they've nerfed the base damage on the first part of the ultimate, but as you can see now, they've added a percent of the target's maximum health. So at the moment with Lee Sin, you can one-shot pretty much anyone that's like super low on HP, but it was never really beneficial to actually kick the tanks into, you know, into the enemy teams. Like, for example, like Set's ultimate, it scales with percentage of the target's maximum health. So when you use your ultimate on the huge massive tank, then you can suplex into the whole enemy team, and you're going to do a whole bunch of damage. Lee Sin didn't really have that opportunity. The best scenario to use Lee Sin was being able to jump onto the back line, use your ultimate on a high value target, and try and one-shot them. Now they're giving you the opportunity to be able to use this now on the depending on the target's maximum health. As you can see, the base value has also gone down, and then you also have the second part as well, which also the base value has gone down, but also has been added the target's maximum health. I don't think this will do a lot. I think Lee Sin will roughly stay about the same in terms of the ultimate damage. You're losing about 50% of the damage here, but you're gaining the percentage of the target's maximum health damage here. Early game, I think, you know, level 1 ultimate will be weaker. However, level 3 ultimate is going to be a lot stronger now, because it's going to be scaling with 60% of the target's maximum health. And obviously, the later the game goes, the more passive health enemies are going to be getting, the more health enemies are going to be building just in general from items and runes and whatever and things like that. So overall, it's a kind of a way for Riot to say you can play Lee Sin differently than what you are now, and they're trying to make his playstyle a little bit different with his ultimate. Ultimately, I don't think it's going to change too much. I think it's just a nice thing of being able to have the opportunity to ultimate a target that has really high maximum health and trying to land the Lee Sin kick onto a high value target onto the backline, for example, because that's a possibility, but it wasn't really at the moment because you're not really doing a lot of damage to that champion in general. But yeah, really nice. Doesn't, like I said, doesn't really change too much, but just a little update there for Lee Sin. Biggest nerf coming into this patch was is Zyra. Now Zyra did have her hotfix. I think she had a hotfix. I mean, a lot of people were saying she had a hotfix, but to be honest, I never saw any information. I was never sent any details from Riot as well, so I'm not too sure if the hotfix was something that they did from the Chinese PBE server to when she went live, but she's still very strong anyway. She needed to be nerfed. So active durations now on her Thorn Spitters, which are her plants, have gone from 8 seconds down to 6 seconds, so they're not going to last as long. The health has also been lowered as well. You can see here the base value has been lowered by quite a bit, but now it scales more with ability power. So the more ability power you build, the more health you're going to be getting with the Thorn Spitters, but with the plants, sorry. This does make early game plants a lot weaker now than what they are at the moment. I think like mid and late game, the plants are going to be about the same, about 2 auto attacks to take down. Early game plants, maybe supports are now going to be able to just auto attack once and take them down. That's a big thing at the moment. You know, AD carries can take down plants pretty much with 1 auto attack. Other than that, if you play like mid lane Zyra, for example, it's very difficult for like mages or assassins to like walk up and, you know, one hit a plant. So I think they're nerfing more the early game Zyra because her laning phase presence is absolutely ridiculous at the moment. You can use abilities, spawns plants everywhere, and it's just very, very powerful. So nothing more early game plants, but again, mid and late game will probably be about the same because the ability power ratio has gone up by quite a substantial amount. Grasping Roots, her root ability has also gone down by 0.25 seconds every single rank, and the area of effect of her ultimate has also gone down by, looks like about 15% roughly, about 15-20% reduction here on the area of effect. So a pretty big nerf for the area of effect on the ultimate. We'll have to see if that makes a big difference with her ultimate. But yeah, Zyra, one of the best mid laners, one of the best supports to play right now, if not the best support to play right now in the current meta. She gets banned all the time. She's really annoying to play with, so I think definitely warranting a nerf. Interesting change here, increased attack range on some abilities. Blitzcrank's Power Fist, Camille's first ability, Jax's empowered auto attack. There's a lot of things changing here with the increased attack range. I'm not too sure what direction they're going with here with the increased attack range. I guess it's just giving people a lot more abilities to be able to use these abilities at range, because they're giving like Jax more attack range now with the second ability, Nasus more attack range, Nautilus as well. There's a lot of things in which they're increasing the attack speed after you're using an ability, which I do seem to be quite interesting. I think the big thing here is Golden Staff, Wukong's first ability. This already gave you increased attack range if I'm not mistaken, so that's just going to be increased even more. I'm interested to see how this affects things. I'm not too sure if this is going to affect too much, but champions that benefit from this the most is champions like Camille, being able to auto attack from range with her first ability. Jax as well is also going to benefit a lot from this change. Wukong and also Xin Zhao, I think they're the champions that are going to benefit the most, because you'll be able to do things like use your empowered auto attack at range, you know, which is really, really powerful for Jax, whether you're auto attacking a tower, taking trades in the laning phase. Getting extra range now on your empowered auto attack on your second ability, especially with some of the changes and some of the new items that are coming into Wild Rift. I think these are probably going to be the most beneficial. Other than that, I don't think a lot of these other people, I mean, Nasus never really gets played. Same with Blitzcrank as well. Doesn't really do too much. Nautilus, I guess, could be, you know, extremely powerful. Shyvana doesn't really get played too much. Vi is also pretty decent as well. And then Volibear's first ability, which again is, I guess you can use your stun at further range. So some interesting changes there. Ultimate spellbook changes. Poor Energy can now be used as spell rerolls. Core Arena changes. There's a bunch of new things with Arena coming in. Obviously, Arena's not in the game at the moment, but Arena is coming back with a new ranked mode as well. They've got a bunch of new augments. You can slowly scroll through all of this just in case any of you want to pause any of these details and have a look at some of the new Arena augments that they're coming in. But For me, I'm not really too bothered about Arena. I'll probably play Arena a few times. I think it's one of the best for fun modes out there, and it having a rank system now is kind of cool. But yeah, other than that, you know, some balance changes, new team fight phase. There's a lot here that you can see, some Easter eggs as well. But again, if you want to pause it, if you want to go back and pause and read any of that, you can do. But let's move on. Gameplay changes, new items, Spirit of Shojin. Now, for some reason in the patch preview video, Spirit of Shojin was shown on Lux, which no, like you do not build Spirit of Shojin on Lux. You do not build Spirit of Shojin on AP mages. You build this on bruisers, and I'll explain to you why. So Spirit of Shojin, so total cost 3,200 gold, which is not too bad. Maximum health, attack damage, and ability haste. Already you can see the attack damage. Again, I have no idea why they were putting this on someone like Lux when there's attack damage. But yeah, pretty good stats overall, and it's pretty expensive. It's kind of like a Divine Sundra sort of cost for an item. The components would be a sword and kindle gem, which are pretty good components, plus 700 gold. And then we have the passive. So it increases your ability haste of basic abilities by 25% for 6 seconds after casting an ultimate, and also grants 30% movement speed that decays over 3 seconds, and scoring a takedown within 6 seconds refreshes the ability's duration. Now, champions that already come straight to my head for this item: Jax, Renekton, Camille, Fiora. I mean, maybe not Camille too much, but Fiora, definitely a big one. Because when you're using your ultimate on these champions, getting that extra bit of movement speed is so huge. Fiora loves movement speed anyway, and with her ultimate, she'll be able to hit her vitals a lot easier, and also reducing the basic abilities means you can use your dash more often, your parry, and also your third ability. Jax as well, when you use your ultimate. Jax, you don't really use your ultimate too much, but now when you get a big massive fight, team fight, you want to make sure you use your ultimate kind of at the start, because it's going to give you the resistances, but also it's going to allow Jax to jump in, do a lot of damage. Again, your basic ability is going to go on cooldown, so you can use your second ability more often to deal more damage, which obviously has that increased attack range. Third ability, being able to use the counter strike more often, and you can even leap more often as well. Really big change I think this is for bruisers. You can even use this on someone like Aatrox as well. Aatrox is another great champion that I can think of that is going to be absolutely insane with this. You know, use your ultimate, you run into a team fight, you get all this ability haste, and you get all this movement speed as well. And scoring a takedown within 6 seconds also refreshes the ability's cooldown, so you'll be able to just keep on doing it over and over and over again. So huge, more movement speed, more ability haste for bruisers. It's just going to make bruisers even stronger than what they are at the moment. I think champions like Jackson and champions like that are already very strong, and it's going to make them even stronger. Another item that's being added in terms of, I guess you can say, another bruiser item in a way. It's a bit interesting because of the build path, but Titanic Hydra. This is an item where you'll be able to basically create a shockwave of AoE damage with your auto attacks, which is obviously in the cleave section. But before that, 3,000 gold, 550 maximum health. You got Bambi Cinder, you got Giant Spell. So there are no AD components to this item. So I don't think this will be an item where it's like first item worthy or even second item worthy. I think this will probably be built as maybe a third or fourth item once you have items like Divine Sundra, Spirit of Shojin, which I think are going to be two of the most vital, two most important items on bruisers in the next patch. Then you can go for something like Titanic Hydra, which you gain attack damage equal to 5 of your base. 5 is a base value, plus 2.5% of your bonus health. This is a big thing. This is bonus health. So this is not your overall health. Bonus health is from items and runes. So things like Spirit of Shojin, for example, 300 maximum health, 2.5% of that. Quick maths is around about 7 or 8, I guess you can say. So again, you're adding 7 or 8 to this 5 attack damage. So you're actually going to gain more attack damage depending on how much bonus health you have. Champion that this is again really good for is someone like Shen. Shen loves split pushing, and this cleave passive is going to help him with split pushing. Obviously champions like Fiora and Jax as well, and everything like that. And one big difference with Titanic Hydra is that it doesn't have an active like it does in PC League of Legends. This is every 2.5 seconds. So you need to make sure you keep an eye on this passive, because you don't want to waste this passive on minions if you're just about to get into a team fight, or if you're just about to jump on an enemy champion and take a trade. You always have to keep an eye on this passive to make sure that you'll be able to, you know, get it rolling. So your next attack will deal bonus physical damage equal to 25 plus 3% of your bonus health. Also applies to towers. Creating a shockwave that deals physical damage equal to blah, 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 blah. And ranged champions will deal 75% of the damage. So you can build this on ranged champions. I wouldn't really recommend it though. Like I said, the components are leaning more towards tanks, but I still think bruisers can kind of build this, you know. Again, champions like Jax, Fiora, champions like that. But I think this will be really good on champions like Shen, for example. But yeah, very interesting item. I'm very surprised they're adding this to Wild Rift. I didn't think they would because of the whole active that happens on PC League of Legends, but making it every 2.5 seconds I think will make it a little bit weaker, because you're not going to be able to decide when you activate the cleave, which is going to make it a little bit weaker. So you can't just jump in, use your second ability on Jax, use the cleave active, and then auto attack again. Some people use it as like an auto attack reset on PC League of Legends. That won't be possible in Wild Rift, which I think makes the item a little bit weaker. Heartsteel, new tank item coming in. It costs 3,000 gold, 700 health in total, 150% base health regeneration, and 20 ability haste. This item I think is going to be pretty insane. 700 health already is crazy good. Base health regeneration again is a very rare but a very strong stat. Build path as well, Kindle Gem, Giant Belt, Ruby Crystal. And while within 700 units of an enemy champion, charges for 3 seconds before dealing a huge strike against an enemy champion. This charge attack does bonus physical damage equal to percentage of your health and grants maximum health equal to 12% of the damage dealt. And charge will be each target for 20 seconds. So you need to be within 700 units. So this item can work on ranged champions. It can give you just a, you know, stacking amount of maximum health. I think it was a thing in PC League of Legends where Senna with Heartsteel was very, very powerful. I don't think it'll be a thing in PC League, in Wild Rift, sorry, especially because you have to be within 700 units of an enemy champion. Yeah, I'm not too sure what I think about this item in general. This is going to have to, you know, there's going to have to be a lot of testing, I think, with this item, because there are a few tank items at the moment that are quite powerful. Sunfire Aegis, Warmogs is very powerful. I mean, this is just going to enhance all of that in total. Maybe there might be a situation where you build this instead of Heartsteel, instead of Warmog, sorry, because it just gives so much, you know, bonus health. Again, not too sure how this item's going to do. We'll have to see. We'll have to test it and see what happens with Heartsteel. But again, very interesting item. So 3 new items coming to the Rift. Now onto item changes. Mantle of the 12th Hour. This item has never really been good on a lot of champions. I think the only champion that really benefits from this is Sion, because Sion actually gains passive health because of his passive, which you'll be able to stack up the shield quite a bit. They're changing a little bit for this. So instead of granting a heal for 200 plus 50% bonus health, it now grants you bonus maximum health equal to 200 plus 50% bonus health. Pretty big. This means that this item is not going to be countered as much now by anti-heal, because the big thing about Mantle of the 12th Hour is granting a heal means that if you have grievous wounds on you, this amount was actually lowered. Now this amount is going to stay the exact same whether you have grievous wounds on you, whether you don't, because it's actually just granting you bonus maximum health. So it doesn't actually mean anything at all in terms of healing and things like that. The only thing that this might be really bad against now is champions that have Divine Sundra, because obviously that item does damage based on your based on the enemy's health. But overall, I think that it's a really, really good change for Mantle 12th Hour. Do I think it'll be meta? Probably not. I still think only champions like Sion will probably build this item. But again, really nice change anyway. I think, to be fair, I don't think it's too long until they remove this item from the game completely. I wouldn't be surprised, because it hasn't had the same effect to some other items. A bit like Seeger in a way. Randuin's Omen, another item that just they completely killed this item when they removed the reduced crit damage, when they removed the old passive. They added this new determination passive, which honestly just sucks out of its mind. Even with this, it still kind of sucks. Basically what they're doing now is you're able to if you don't actually have if you don't auto attack or you don't consume all the stacks, you'll be able to automatically consume all the stacks that you have to heal yourself for half of the amount. So at the moment with Randuin's Omen, when you fully stack the determination stacks, you have to auto attack an enemy champion, and then you'll be able to heal based on your maximum amount of determination stacks. Now what they're doing is if you can't auto attack after 5 seconds, you'll automatically consume all determination stacks and you heal yourself anyway. So it's very, very nice change. Again, I think it's a nice direction that they're taking with this item. But again, I just don't think the item's going to be viable. They completely killed the item from before. So yeah, not that great. I don't think these two items are very powerful. They're trying to change it to make it a little bit more relevant, a little bit in meta. But again, not really that strong. And again, Randuin's has always been a situational item where it's always against just critical damage. If you're against no critical damage, then this item is pretty useless. Zeke's Convergence. This is a huge buff to Zeke's, by the way. Huge buff to Zeke's. Got rid of the magic resist. Now we have maximum health. This is beyond huge change. I honestly think Zeke's might be the strongest support item after this patch, because the magic resistance doesn't really do too much with Zeke's, especially as a support. I mean, supports only build this item anyway, but now with them adding maximum health and removing the magic resist, you can also build like Giant's Belt and you still have the Glacial Shroud. Big buff to Zeke's Convergence. So I definitely see that this item is going to be very powerful. Champions like Blitzcrank, Nautilus, even Thresh, anything like that, you know, anyone that can really get in the face of enemy champions and enhance your AD carry's damage. Really great change. Really love this. Runa's Hurricane has been a bit powerful for quite some time. They're doing a bit of an adjustment in a way. It's going to cost 3,000 more gold. 3,000? It's going to cost 100 more gold, sorry. Give you less attack speed now. I mean, 45 to 35% attack speed is a big nerf, but they are compensating that with giving you an extra 5 attack damage and 10 ability power. This is kind of scary though, this less attack speed, sorry. The reason why this was so strong on champions like Zeri, because she can reach her cap earlier and gain bonus attack damage, and obviously champions like Twitch for the spread damage and also for the extra attack speed. I'm not too sure if the 5 AD and 10 ability power is going to compensate the 10% attack speed nerf. I think overall this is a nerf to the item. You know, it costs 100 more gold. Really big nerf here. It's like a whatever this is, like 20% nerf, actually over a 20% nerf for the attack speed, and then you gaining 5 AD. Honestly, it's nothing at all. Absolutely nothing at all. So yeah, pretty big change here for Runa's Hurricane. Now, Ancient Coin, you might think you might think when you first see this that this is a bit of a nerf, or you might even think this is a buff. Basically what they're doing is with support items at the moment, once you reach 500 gold, the item gets upgraded into their second version. And when you get upgraded to the second version, you're able to gain gold per minute and also gain bonus stats, whether that's health, attack damage, or ability power. Now what they're doing, instead of it being 500 gold to be able to reach the maximum point of support items, they're changing it now to 750. Now what does this mean for the support items? Well, you're going to have to make sure that you stack this a lot better now with some of the items. There is also a change with minions a bit later on as well, so I think it's actually going to be a lot slower now to stack these support items. There's no more cannon minions in the early game. They've been replaced by basically bazooka minions, I like to call them. They have a big massive bazooka, but they give less gold, so overall you're going to be stacking up support items a lot less than before. This does mean, however, that you'll get a little bit more gold from the support item and you'll gain more stacking gold from the support item. I think the big nerf with this that a lot of people might not know with support items, once you reach that maximum stack of 500 gold, you go into this, I guess, enhanced version of the item where every single minute you gain bonus stats. Relic Shield, for example, you gain bonus health every minute, and you also gain bonus AD or AP depending on adaptive damage. Now you're going to reach this point a lot later now into the game, so you're not going to be getting as much max bonus health, as much bonus attack damage or ability power, because it's going to give you, you're probably going to take, I would say nearly twice as long, I think, to upgrade the support item, even though this is like 1.5x of 500 is 750 is 1.5x of 500. I still think it's going to be like double the time. Like I said, there's no more cannon minions anymore, so you're going to be getting less gold in general from support items. So it's going to be like twice as long now for you to be able to upgrade your items. So you're not going to be able to get them bonus stats as sooner. But again, you'll probably get more gold to be by being able to use the items more often to get more gold. This also is a huge nerf to roaming supports as well, because roaming supports, you know, you like to upgrade your item fairly early on, get a few levels, and then look to roam around, and it doesn't really matter about upgrading your support item. now that you're going to actually have to stay in lane longer or roam around and go into another lane and actually stack your support item more, because you're going to have to make sure that you get up to 750 as soon as possible. So yeah, a few changes there to support items. Interested to see how this changes things. I think it's going to change a bit with support meta and what you choose in terms of Agent Coin, Relic Shield, and Sickle. I still think Relic Shield is the best option and still will be. Baron Lane Alcove. Holy moly. This is pretty crazy. I've even seen as well that there's some like crazy... I'm not too sure. So they released this thing on... I looked at Chose's video where they actually added like a little scanner, like a little crab, I guess you can say in a way, that in the alcove on the Baron lane, you're going to be able to walk over there, pick up the crab, I guess you can call it, wherever it's scorpion, that's what it is. Pick up the scorpion, and the scorpion's going to run towards the tower and deal damage. I'm not too sure if that's added into this patch. It doesn't seem like it because there's actually no details of this at all. But Baron Alcove, this is a huge playmaking potential for junglers. Basically, at the moment, junglers kind of ignore Baron Lane. Baron Lane is not really a place where junglers like to go. And especially lane ganking in general is not really very common. A lot of junglers just like to come from the river because they like to farm up. But it's going to be big for junglers. Like, you're going to be able to use this alcove to your advantage. And even Baron laners in general as well are also going to use this alcove to their advantage. Because you can go around the alcove. You can try and do a little sneak attack. Junglers can also do the same as well. So I think it's going to mean that Baron Lane is going to be a lot more fun to play now. It's a bit boring at the moment because you're kind of on an island by yourself. But I think this alcove is definitely going to make it more enjoyable to play. You know, more opportunities for outplays and gank strategies. Actually, why I said relocation of honey fruits in the Baron Lane. We've relocated the honey fruit behind the tower with the aim of preventing champions with long attack ranges from easily destroying the opponent's honey fruit. Now, again, I saw a video where this was actually changed in every single lane, mid lane and also down in the dual lane. But it seems like they've only gone with the Baron Lane so far. This is basically making it so the fruit is now on the same side as the tower. So at the moment, you have the tower, which is at the top, and then or the bottom, or you have the tower on one side, and then you have the honey fruit the other side. What you can do is like a melee champion or like a Vayne Baron Lane, you can walk up, auto attack the honey fruit, and then you're basically denying healing from the enemy champion. You can do this quite early on, especially if you have someone like Teemo that can push early game. Now you're not going to be able to do that as much because the honey fruit is going to be behind the tower, so you're not going to get that extra advantage to be able to, you know, deny the honey fruit from enemy champions. Bit of a suckish change, to be fair. I think it's kind of cool denying honey fruits from Baron laners, and I think there was some strategy behind it as well, because you do risk walking up, and there is some risk of taking the honey fruit because you're going to lose the trade, you're going to lose the auto attacks, you might get caught by a jungler or something like that. So yeah, it's very interesting the way that they're thinking of doing this honey fruit change. As I mentioned, I saw in the PBE, Chinese PBE, they did this on every single lane, but it seems like it's just on Baron Lane for now. Okay. Okay, you think we're done? We're nowhere near done. Game mechanic changes. These are all the basic mechanic changes. These are big system changes that have already happened, but now we get into the mechanic changes. New cannon minion, bazooka minion. I don't know why they call it cannon minion. So at the moment in the laning phase, I did this video quite a while ago. Actually, there was a video that I did, a lot of you might remember, where I got access to the English PBE server, which unfortunately is not available at the moment. But they basically changed the way minions were working in that PBE. So at the moment you can get a cannon minion, so you get like 2 melee minions, 2 range minions, I believe, or 1 range minion, and then a cannon minion. The cannon minion gives you a lot more gold, it's a lot more tankier, and it takes quite a long time for the towers to take it down. It basically means that you're not able to really punish as much in terms of being able to punish roamers as much. Because when you're crashing underneath the tower, the cannon minion just tanks so much of the damage. The roaming mid laners are not going to lose that much in terms of gold. They're trying to reduce that ever so slightly. So between the strength of the siege minion wave and other minion waves, this possesses challenges for players in making decisions about when to recall, roam, or provide support for their team. By replacing them with a cannon minion, bazooka minion, players should hopefully be able to concentrate on laning during the early game while having better control of the minion wave. This adjustment will also enhance lane experience and gold, increasing the Baron laner's impact. Oh, also enhances lane experience points and gold. Interesting. So yeah, siege minions that appears between 50 seconds and 12 minutes and 5 seconds from start game are now replaced by cannon minions. So the siege minions are the big massive ones that come around. They're basically cannon minions, and these are the bazooka minions. These are the new minions. Like I said, if you watched my video before, you can see that overall you're going to be getting a lot less gold and a lot less experience overall. So yeah, we'll have to see how that works. Has attack range and is weaker than the siege minion, but is stronger than the melee minion. Overall, the strength of the minion range remains consistent as before. Basically, big thing is now that when you're pushing a minion wave, you actually might get punished a lot more by going back to base. At the moment, when you go when you push your minion wave and when you go back to base, when you're trying to deny minions, you actually don't deny that many minions, because by the time the enemy team recalls, the enemy mid lane or the enemy dual lane recalls, runs back to lane with how quick home guards are, you're actually not going to be able to deny that many minions. Now with this, you might be able to deny more minions than before, and you actually have to think to yourself now, when is the best time to recall? Really, really big thing. Minion wave experience points are modifying the minion experience ratio in different lanes. In the first 7 minutes of the game, shared experience points from minion waves are reduced, while solo laners gain higher experience points in the top and mid lanes. After 7 minutes, this experience points will expire. This is a big nerf, I guess you can say, to dual lanes, because this shared experience points is basically meaning your dual lane and your support. One big thing that I hate at the moment is when a jungler is able to full clear a jungle. They just go from red buff to blue buff, or blue buff to red buff, whatever you want to call it. They kill every single camp. They get level 5. They come down to the bot lane. I'm only level 4. I'm nowhere near my ultimate, and they're able to gank us level 5. This is now going to mean that you're probably only going to be level 3 down in the bot lane now, whilst the jungler is randomly at level 5. This also means that your points of leveling are now going to be different. I think at the moment you have to clear 1 full wave and 2 melee minions to be able to get level 2 in the bot lane. That will probably change now. You'll probably have to clear, I'm predicting you'll probably have to clear 2 full minion waves before you reach level 2. I'm not too sure if that's going to be a huge impact. I'm not too sure if that's going to be exactly what it's going to be like, and if these changes actually going to be that impactful, but we'll have to test, and we'll have to see obviously tomorrow when the patch comes out. But yeah, big thing that you'll get more experience now in the top and mid lane, so you'll be able to get more points in your abilities, and you'll be able to obviously, you know, get higher levels. But in the dual lane, in the first 7 minutes, so this is first Drake plus 3/4 away basically to second Drake, you are going to be getting a lot less experience. Yeah, this is such a weird change. I don't know how I feel about this. I guess they feel like duo laners at the moment are just getting too much experience and they're just being too much of a carry, so they're trying to nerf it. There might be a situation where supports start going up to the Baron lane. That might be a big thing. Because if your support is roaming and your dual lane gets more experience, that means your dual lane is going to be more of a carry. Solo experience, you're going to be able to get all by yourself. So I can definitely see a meta where the supports actually go into Baron lane and the dual lane is basically solo by itself. A bit like competitive. Competitive meta was kind of like that. Okay, adjusted experience catch-up mechanic. The experience catch-up mechanic will trigger immediately when the champion falls below an average by 1 level. Previously, it was 0.75. So at the moment, when you're zoning champions away from experience, or when you're denying minions or experience away from enemy champions, when you get 0.75 level ahead, so not even a level ahead, it will trigger a catch-up mechanic, which will give that enemy champion more base experience and more base gold, I think. No, it's just experience, sorry. So the experience catch-up. So it's just experience 1. So they will get an experience catch-up, which means that they'll be able to catch up to your level a lot quicker. However, now it's going to be an average level by 1 level. So they're actually buffing you from zoning enemy champions by getting ahead, by getting advantages by yourself, because before it was 0.75, so all you need to be is, you know, 0.75 levels ahead of the enemy champion for this to trigger. Now it needs to be 1 level, so you have that 0.25 where you're able to get a big advantage for the against the enemy champions. It will still trigger the catch-up mechanic for experience when you're one level ahead. One full level ahead, by the way, this is. But still, really, really nice. I really like this change because this benefits players a lot from winning a laning phase. If you win laning phase, if you get ahead in experience, or even levels, or even gold, you shouldn't be punished by the system by this catch-up mechanic, by the enemy champion gaining more experience, basically. That's the way that I see it. But really, really nice change. It's not a lot, but every little one helps, I guess. Adjust experience points for leveling up. So the experience points required to reach level 10 and above have been increased. Champions need more experience to level up after reaching level 9. Wow, this is pretty crazy. It's going to be the same now. So between level 1 and 9, it's going to be exactly the same. But now between 9 and 15, it's going to be a lot more difficult to level up. Now, what does this mean? This does mean that the late game in general, you're not going to have as much experience as what you did before. So champions are not going to be able to reach level 15 as what they did before. So scaling champions in general, I'm thinking this off the top of my head. Champions like Kassadin, champions like Kayle, champions like, can't think of super late game scaling champions, Vladimir, all these champions that want above level 10, they want like level 10, level 11, level 12. Even Kayle wants level 15 as soon as possible, or level 11 or 12 as soon as possible to get her third ability upgrade on her passive. This is going to take them longer now. You're not going to be able to get as much crazy experience as what you did before, because now it's going to be you're going to have a more experience to be able to reach. So these late game scary champions that are currently in the game, they're not going to peak as much as what they did before. They're not going to peak as quick as what they did before. So again, really huge system change that I think nerfs a lot of these late game champions quite a lot, that want to try and reach level 15 as soon as possible. They AFK farm, they reach level 15 as soon as possible. Kayle jungle comes to mind, of course. But yeah, big change here for experience points for adjusting. Solo assist goal changes. When only one champion assists with a takedown, the goal rewarded for the assist change will change from 50% of the bounty to 35% of the bounty. There is no change when more than one champion assists in a takedown. Basically, this is going to give your support a lot less gold, or you a lot less gold. That could also be a thing. If your support steals your kill, then you are not going to be able to get as much gold as before. Big thing for supports, you probably want to make sure that you actually guarantee the kill goes on the AD carry now, unless you want to be the main carry, unless you're playing someone like, I don't know, Pyke or Karma, or a more carry orientated support, that wants more gold. I would highly recommend trying to give your kills over to your dual lane partner, because now you're not going to get awarded as much gold when only one champion assists in a takedown. However, if your jungler comes along and there's 2 assists in the takedown, that is not changed. More than one champion assist with a takedown has been unchanged. So again, I think this is a pretty big nerf in the dual lane. Like, I have to say it. Like, they're nerfing the XP in dual lane. They're also nerfing the overall gold in dual lane by your dual lane carry, and also the support, depending on who gets takedown. So they're nerfing a lot of system changes with the AD carries and supports in general in the dual lane, which is a bit scary for me. But yeah, really interesting. In-game rune stats featured optimization. In patch 4.4 we launched the rune stats feature, and in this patch we've improved it. New stats added to several runes, optimized statistical runes for some runes in the rune stat pages. Cool. I guess that's kind of cool. I mean, you can probably see more rune stats. I don't know what rune stats these actually are. Be quite interesting to see what they actually are, but yeah, nice change there. Strategic objective changes. These changes are wild, by the way. Like, this is what I mean by there's so many system changes. Strategic objective changes. Taking into account player feedback and analysis of game data, we tweaked the strategic objectives and fine-tuned how they will trigger based on certain conditions. So at the moment in a game of Wild Rift, if you're a certain amount of gold ahead of the enemy champion, enemy team, you will get something called strategic objectives, or comeback mechanic, as that kind of called. So you'll see a big massive glow up on the towers, on the objectives, and when you get these objectives, you'll gain bonus gold. This is kind of Wild Rift's way of you being able to come back from behind. However, they were being affected by also Twisted Fate passive, Draven's passive, and also Pyke's ultimate. Also things like First Strike and Sweet Tooth. This gold that you were getting from all of these champions' ability and runes were affecting the comeback mechanic coming into the game. There were some games that I wasn't even that far ahead in gold of in terms of a team. Like my team wasn't that far ahead of gold compared to the enemy team, but because things like this come into effect, you know, Pyke passive, Twisted Fate passive, things like that, the strategic objective was being triggered you know, a lot earlier than what it needed to be. Now obviously the strategic objective can be triggered earlier now, which is kind of annoying in a way, in terms of earlier on in the game. But the gold earned through some champions' abilities and rune effects will no longer affect strategic objectives. So now these champions basically got a nice buff where if you get bonus gold from Twisted Fate or by Draven passive or even Pyke's ultimate, that will not affect the comeback mechanic gold. So it will be in a completely different section of gold. So now it just depends on tower takedowns, objective takedowns, kills, assists, deaths, everything like that. Things like champions' abilities and runes will not come into effect. So say, for example, you had 1,500 gold and the enemy team had 1,000 gold. Very brief example. 1,000 of the gold could be from kills and assists. 500 of the gold can be from First Strike. But because First Strike has given you that 500 extra gold, it's going to trigger the comeback mechanic. It's going to trigger the strategic objectives. But now it won't. You'll just be at 1,000 for the strategic objectives, but you'll still have that 500 bonus gold from First Strike. So really nice change, you know, really nice buff to things like Sweet Tooth and First Strike, and obviously these champions as well. Right. Anyone who says, anyone who said before, I don't care if you're in my games, I don't care if you're in my comment section, if any of you have ever said that dragons are worth taking more than Rift Heralds, you are wrong. And you're still wrong. Even after these changes, you will still be wrong. Rift Herald is 100% the best objective to take in the early game. It gives you more gold. It gives you first tower of the game. It gives you dominance on the map, everything like that. One dragon is not enough to take. And even if you get the dragon souls were so weak that it wasn't even worth risking your entire life and risking you losing the game just to deny dragon soul. And hey, guess what? Right, agree with me. All right, agree with people like me and Kirks that have been saying this for months now, months and months and months, especially because these changes. Look at this. Dragon Soul, buff. Mountain Soul, buff. Ocean Soul, buff. Ice Dragon Soul, buff. Will this be enough? Probably not. I still don't think Dragon Souls are really worth it. I mean, they're only buffing this by like 25% base and like 5% bonus. They're buffing this by like 50 shielding, which is nothing. Ocean Soul is going up by like 40 healing. Ice Dragon Soul is like mark cooldown of 12 seconds instead of 15 seconds. No, like Dragon Souls in general are terrible, and dragons in general, the stats do not stack anymore. Like you can't get an extra stack of Ocean Drake if you get 2 dragons, or you get 3 stacks of Ocean Drake when you get 3 dragons. You just get 1 stat from taking a Drake, and that is it. That is all you get for the whole game. It doesn't matter if you get 2 or 3 dragons. That 2% healing that you get from getting a first Ocean Dragon will be 2% of 3 Drakes, 2% of 2 Drakes, or 2% of 1 Drake. So please, if you're watching this and if you come up to this point, please do not focus dragons if you're a jungler, and please do not focus dragons if you're in the dual lane. Just play passive in the dual lane, let the enemy team take the dragon if they're going to, and let your team take Rift Herald. But obviously they need to know how to use Rift Herald, so things like making sure you use it as soon as possible, before 7.5 minutes before the tower plates go down, and also make sure you have priority in the lane so you can actually take first tower of the game. So yeah, big buff to Dragon Souls. I don't think it's going to mean too much, but yeah, Rift Herald is still better. Told you this was long. We're still not done, by the way. See all this? Still all system changes. You thought we were nearly done. We're nowhere near. Changes to stacking damage reduction. This patch introduces new items with damage reduction, and when combined with champions' damage reduction abilities, it all becomes a little too much. So we're changing how damage reduction stacks. Things like Garen's second ability, for example, that stacks really, really well with tank items, which is why like Garen was kind of unkillable at times, because you can just get a few tank items and you'll be pretty unkillable. Even things like, I think, like Galio's second ability give you stats? I think it does. There's a few other champions, but I can't think of them on the top of my head. Basically, they've tweaked the calculations for stacking multiple percentage-based damage reduction effects. This adjustment will slightly reduce the overall benefit when damage reduction is stacked. So just a bit of a nerf here to damage reduction. Nothing too crazy. Ghost Poro. Goodbye, Ghost Poro. Hello, Jungle Spirit. They're basically just changing this ever so slightly. There's a few big things now with this. So Ghost Poros had only one line of route that they could take in terms of running directions. Now this Jungle Spirit is now going to kind of follow you in a way. So it's not going to go in one straight direction, or it's not going to go in one simple direction. It's now going to be basically it's basically going to follow you at this point. While patrolling, the Jungle Spirit will quickly move in front of enemies it detects and fear them before returning to its patrol route. So if you see an enemy, it will be able to detect you and also fear them. I'm not too sure if this is actually a fear where you're actually going to be CC'd by the Jungle Spirit. I don't think that's a thing. I think this fear is just like you're just going to be spotted for a few seconds, and the Jungle Spirit is actually going to follow you until it returns to its normal patrol route. A new jungle camp has been added. When the Jungle Spirit is killed, it will charge at this jungle camp, or jungle camp, I guess I'm supposed to say, not champ. Once the charging is complete, the Jungle Spirit will respawn from the camp. No idea what the hell this means. I don't know how they're adding a new jungle camp somewhere. No idea where that's been added, but that's very interesting. I also played the Chinese PvE bit, and you can actually get gold now from these Jungle Spirits. So if you take them down, you get like, I think 30 gold or something, which is pretty big. If you take them down, you get a little bit of gold. But yeah, goodbye Ghost Poros. Hello Jungle Spirits. This is going to be really annoying where they follow you now instead of going on normal patrol route. Because the big thing about Ghost Poros being on normal patrol route is you kind of knew where it's going to be at a certain point, especially if you had wards around. So you can kind of play around that. Now you can't really anymore because it follows you. Rift Herald optimization. Big thing. It's now going to ignore minions completely. It's not going to focus on minions anymore. It's just going to go straight towards the towers. Big buff to Rift Herald. It being stuck on minions kind of sucked. So now you have more of a chance of getting 2 charges for Rift Herald on one tower and then the second tower, which is really nice. Also add a minimap icon that appears when a Rift Herald is summoned. This gives players a clearer heads up when it happens. Cool. Really nice buff to Rift Herald. Just makes it even more worth to go for Rift Herald instead of dragons. Rune stack optimization. We've made adjustments so that the stacks, oh, this is big. We've made adjustments so the stacks for Conqueror and Kraken Slayer fall off at a rate of 1 per 0.5 seconds, the same as Lethal Tempo. Previously, all stacks fall off. Now this is wild, okay? So at the moment in Wild Rift, if you get 2 stacks of Kraken Slayer and that little time wheel goes down to 0 and that duration ends to 0, but you basically go back to 0. Now when that time wheel goes down, it will go from 2 to 1 and then go around again and then go down to 0. So there are some ways now that you can get 2 stacks of Kraken Slayer, you wait for a little bit of time, and then you can get that 3rd stack afterwards. You don't have to proc Kraken Slayer 3 times in quick succession. However, it does say it does drop 1 stack per 0.5 seconds. So I don't think this is going to be as powerful on Kraken Slayer because you're basically going to lose all your stacks after 1 second. Because 1 stack per 0.5 seconds means you're going to lose all the stacks in 1 second. So it's not going to be as powerful for Kraken Slayer. The big thing is Conqueror. If you go up to 5 stacks of Conqueror and you're not able to auto attack and get that 6 stack and fully stacked Conqueror, you can wait 2 seconds and you'll still go down to 1 stack. So it will take you less time to get you up to that 6 stack and full stack potential. It's a huge buff to Conqueror, like a disgusting buff to Conqueror, because it works the same as Lethal Tempo now. Conqueror, huge buff. Kraken Slayer, I don't think it's too much of a buff. I mean, it's nice, don't get me wrong. Like, after 0.5 seconds, you're only going to lose 1 stack instead of losing the whole thing in general. But yeah, huge buff to Conqueror. Conqueror's basically going to be like Lethal Tempo now. I think Conqueror's going to be extremely powerful. Store optimization. In the first 30 seconds of the game, items can now be sold at the original price. Really cool if you accidentally buy a wrong item. You can go back to base in the first 30 seconds and just purchase something else instead. Really nice change. Just in case this is really big for like players that are swapping. I've done this before where I swapped and I've gone support, where I've gone in the mid lane and the game suggests me to buy like an amplifying tome or a ruby crystal. where I'm a support, so I want to buy a support item, and the mid laner gets suggested to buy a support item. So if you accidentally buy the first item, then you can just sell it for the full price and buy something else instead within the first 30 seconds. So really nice change. I love this change. Really cool. Practice mode changes. Players can now purchase boost enchantments immediately at the start of the game. Cool, I guess. I mean, doesn't really do too much. I don't think it does really too much at all. New item VFX, new visual update for things like Lifeline, Barrier as well. Hex Flash Rune, just you know, again, quality of life change where you'll be able to see an ignited fuse now effect has been added, showing the remaining cooldown of flash, because when you use flash and you have Hex Flash, you don't know when flash is coming back up. So really nice ignited fuse, just showing you the cooldown of flash and when you have flash available again, because this is not possible at the moment. Again, really nice change. In-game announcement optimizations, not really too bothered about this, but I guess it's kind of cool. When a team gains Dragon Soul, bounty information, improved display effect of in-game chat kill announcements. I saw this briefly. This is really cool. And improved announcements for turret damage or when inhibitor turrets are under attack. Kind of nice. Buff stack display optimization as well. You'll be able to see more digits now of buffs. So say for example, if you're playing Kraken Slayer and if you get 1,500 stacks, not Kraken Slayer, sorry. If you're playing something like First Strike and you get 1,500 stacks, you weren't able to, you know, see it. You only see 999 plus. Now you can see 32,100, or you can see 65,500, things like that. So again, really nice change. Really nice quality of life change that you could, excuse me, you can actually see how much gold you're getting from First Strike, rather than you seeing 999 plus and not actually knowing how much gold you're getting. Again, really cool change. Post-game item stacks display optimization. I'm not too sure what this is exactly. Items will, with stacks now, will now display the stack count on the bottom right of the item icon at the end of screen. I think there's just things like Tear of the Goddess and things like that, but I don't think this really means too much, but hey, kind of okay. Baron Nashor, Elder Dragon buff display optimization. Oh, this is big. A cooldown timer for the buff will appear. So every single time you take Baron and Elder now, you'll now see the countdown timer, so you'll know when the buff disappears. Again, really nice quality of life changes. Really cool quality of life changes. Customized HUD, upgraded interactions, so you can now change the transparency of the HUD. Again, really cool quality of life change, and some other things as well that you can do, which I'll probably have to go through in another video. Probably I might have to do like a settings update video for 2024, which I'll probably do a bit later on. This is probably the worst change of the entire patch. Yeah, I don't really like this at all. This is making the game basically play for you. The game is, we're going into a situation with Wild Rift where they're making the game so easy that now everything is being done for you. If your auto aim is active while casting certain combo abilities, the champion will locate the most optimal enemy champion within range and dash towards them. Yes. So if you do things like use Camille's hook and try and dash to get that extra range, if you use Gragas's body slam and try and flash afterwards to gain the extra range, Galio's Justice Punch, Vi's Vault Breaker, even Yasuo's Sweeping Blade plus Steel Tempest combo, which by the way, this is a really fucking hard combo to do, by the way. All of this is now being made easier thanks to this new flash combo mechanic, which is basically going to locate the closest enemy champion, and all you have to do is use the ability, use flash, and the game will go in the direction for you. It won't actually, like, you won't have to aim anymore. You just use the abilities, press flash, boom, it goes in the direction for you. Like, I cannot underestimate how much I hate this change, and I hate how they're making changes like this, but it's in the game anyway. I hope you can turn this off, because I can see a way in which this can completely screw you over. Because imagine you want to do something like Jarvan's Flag and Drag combo, or even something like Galio's Justice Punch, but you don't want to hit the closest enemy to you. You want to hit an enemy that's further away, but the auto aim just takes you to an enemy that's to the left instead of to the right, because that enemy's closer. But that enemy on the left is a tank, whereas the enemy on the right is a high value target that you want to try and CC. So I can see this really screwing you over, you know, not only making it easier. So I don't really like it, but it is what it is. Nothing really can do about it. Social system optimization, motivational interaction feature. They got some cool like interaction feature at the start of the game now. Cool optimization of party formation. Cool new guild features. Optimization of pre-game interactions. You now do some like cool interactions. Collections can now be done on the gallery. You can do some like cool patch collection stuff or collection score, things like that. And then we have the new skins. Obviously, the new Wild Pass skin, Spirit Blossoms Syndra. We didn't have the Zinshao skin. We also have the Luna skins. The big thing about these Luna skins is that you can see here, there's Luna Fairy Special Edition Kai'Sa. There is no mention in these patch notes about any sort of gacha or boxes or anything like that about Kai'Sa. So yeah, kind of interested to see what this is going to be. Yeah, really interested to see what it's going to be. But yeah, Luna Guardian Nasus, Luna Guardian Pantheon, Luna Guardian Aurelion Sol. Then we have some extra bits, some bug fixes, things like Rengar's first ability not proccing Essence Reaver. Some extra fixes to like combos from Jace, Alistar. Fix the issue where Leona's Zenith Blade is unable to break the ability shield granted by Crown the Shattered Queen. Cool. And fix some bugs related to rune stats. And that is everything. An hour of patch notes. Like I said, not too much in terms of champion changes, not that much in terms of new items or item changes. The big thing is in this patch are system changes. Hopefully I've gone over everything, and please, if you have any questions, please leave them down below. Don't forget to enter in the giveaway as well. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you're excited for the most about in this new patch. Again, any questions about any of the system changes, please let me know down in the comments. I always read through them and reply to them and everything as well. So yeah, appreciate you all. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you all in the next Wild Rift video on patch 5.0. Take care. Peace.